Worst level in the game, right here. This is the level that caused me to rage quit the game for over a month until I got an action replay so I could get into the lives code just to beat it. I had such a frustrating time with this in my first playthrough. So you can't blame me for using a max lives code on my emulator here. Like, I didn't use it yet, as you can tell by the fact that I have only 3 lives on the counter, but still. This level is a sky level. But surprisingly enough, it's not the bottomless pits that are the biggest problem. It's the gimmick that sends you into them. No, not this one. This one is kind of fine. Although it's annoying how a lot of the times the parachutes will send you towards enemies. It's this thing. This thing right here. I died so many times to this thing when I first played the game. Where do I even begin? The slippery controls, the screen crunch. How about the fact that there's still level between screens? So you think that you can get up to that special stage spring thing by just going up, but you can't. In retrospect, it was pretty obvious that I had to just jump down to the right and I would have gotten the special stage swing that way. But unfortunately it didn't occur to me at the time, so I ended up beating this level without actually getting the special stage, and I had to go back to it to replay it in order to get the special stage. But thankfully I got it pretty quickly, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, there's a lot of instances where you'll be trying to dodge enemies while you're floating around on a parachute that you can't attack while you're on. So it's all about dodging. But yeah, like, this level has some fast, fun parts. Most of its tricks are on rails. So you gotta constantly be mashing the R button here. And you can't get nearly as much boost energy from doing tricks on rails because, again, you can only do tricks on rails up to 1,000 points. But yeah, where do I even begin with this? I didn't know when I first played the game that you could safely jump off that thing. I assumed that if I jumped off that thing, one of two things would happen. Either it would fall down, and I wouldn't be able to land back on it, and I would fall into the insta-kill lasers below. Or, after jumping off it, it would keep on moving away from me, which is what will happen if you don't jump off it while standing completely still. So, it is a good thing that you can jump off the rocket boosters to damage the enemies, because there are constantly enemies flying around, and you have to jump into them, because if you don't, then you'll have to dodge them with the slippery controls of a rocket booster. And again, I didn't know that I could jump on the rocket booster safely when I first played the game. Like, enemies on one screen are closer than they appear on the other one. Because again, I just can't stress enough how stupid it is that they put level between the two screens. This level's biggest problem is the rocket boosters, because screen crunch is just such a big problem with them. It's like you have to have instantaneous reaction times when moving into the enemies or the spikes. Like, that's another thing, there's spikes all over the place. Like, for the most part, spikes are a non-existent problem in this game. Up until this point, the only spike that I had a problem with was the one that was standing up right in Leaf Storm, because it always makes you stop and have to jump over it. And that kind of breaks the pace and flow. But that's really it. On my first try, when I first played this game, I actually managed to dodge every single enemy in every single cloud on my first try of this. Which is actually it was actually pretty lucky of me because the depth perception there isn't very good. It's kind of hard to tell where you're supposed to position yourself so that you can get all the rings. Like, and there's plenty of times when I first played it that I thought, that enemy really should have hit me. But thankfully getting hit doesn't actually kill you in one go. Like, you just lose rings and you can just get more. I felt like that was a pretty basic and bland platforming challenge when I first played it. Like, it's right on Mario.
Let's do it.
And have you noticed what this theme is ripping off? The theme of this level actually recycles the theme that plays when you get a victory. I don't understand why. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really suit this level. This is why it's pretty easy to die here. Even though you can boost through the spikes, and to be honest, I actually got the idea to boost through the spikes my own on my first playthrough because I thought, well, Metal Sonic could boost through spikes in Sonic CD, maybe I can. And I was right. So you just boost through the spikes, and then you have to jump onto a rail. And if you don't jump, then you'll probably get sent to your death, because by the time that you try to jump, like that's a good thing about this level right there, is that you can actually skip some of the rocket boosters. Like, you can take alternate routes to avoid them. But the problem is, I didn't find it very intuitive when I first played the game that I even could skip them. Because there's so many levels in this game where there's annoying sections that you can't do anything to skip. So you can take alternate routes to skip the rocket boosters, but I'd rather have the rocket boosters be on their own alternate route they have to make effort to get to. I liked it when, in the classic Sonic games and stuff, you would get sent upwards, and it would warn your brain that it was about time to platform, you know? But with this game, you got the instant gratification of a boost. So, it's not like you're always having your brain trained to realize that you can only gain speed by going through specific parts of the level and holding down. So, I don't feel like this game, that's the easiest rocket booster section ever. Like, I really love how there's invincibility there. It makes it so much easier to deal with the fact that there's enemies. But again, you hit a wall with those rocket boosters, and you'll fall to your death. Those things wouldn't be nearly as annoying if they didn't punish you for hitting a wall with death. You know what they remind me of? The bubbles from Aqua Lake Zone. Only in Aqua Lake Zone, you didn't get punished with a bottomless pit when the bubble got popped, you know? I don't really see why that's fun. Like, if I can make a 30-second review of my thoughts on this game, it'll be those rocket boosters right there. Because I would compare the rocket boosters to the bubbles of Aqua Lake Zone, showing the consequences for failing both. It's just, I really hated this level when I first played it, and even now, I think that it's heavily flawed. There are a lot of fast, fun parts to it, though. It's just that the gimmicks, well, it's mainly the fact that the screen crunch gets you killed, and it's like, what's really the point of a sky level if every level in the game is a sky level? Because every level in the game is full of bottomless pits. I'm assuming you gotta boost into those things, because if you don't boost into them, then you're not gonna have the momentum to have them carry you upwards enough. But they're the most harmless gimmick in the game. Again, you boost up to an area that sends you upwards. But unlike in the classic games, it's not like boosting up that actually makes you think, well, I better get ready for platforming now. Because you've got the instant gratification of a boost. In the classic games, the interruption was to warn you of danger. In this game, the interruption is the danger. Is it just me, or do the rocket boosters in Act 2 feel a lot slower than the ones in Act 1? That really should have been how they were in the first place. Hardest level in the game, no doubt. Like, again, I actually had a much better experience with the levels after this. Like, Deadline may have a gimmick that these things actually hate more than the rocket boosters, because when you know what to do on the rocket boosters, it's really not so bad. It really does a lot to help knowing that you can jump on the rocket boosters, but still. There's a lot of things wrong with this boss. If you're on the ground when it ground pounds the arena, then you're gonna get stunned, and so even after you come out of the stun animation and you jump into the boss's weak spot, you won't be able to hit it. That is so cheap. That feels like you're cheating out of a hit. So you gotta be jumping in the air, and you gotta jump backwards, because the boss jumps up in the air in a very unintuitive way, where it jumps backwards, but then it jumps forwards. And again, if you didn't jump after it crashed into the arena from the background, then you would have been stunned, and you would have been cheated out of a hit. Now you got button mashing. Like, this game really loves button mashing for some reason. You got button mashing in the boss battles, and you got button mashing in the levels themselves. This entire game is dedicated to Divs' love of button mashing. I don't really get that. But yeah, I don't think the wind gimmick button mashing isn't too bad for me. It's really the fact that I can't actually attack the boss while I'm doing it. And it's not like getting past the wind gets you a free hit. So it doesn't even feel like the boss properly rewards you for that. There's also these things. Sometimes it can feel like you can dodge them without even trying, but other times it feels like they're really hard to dodge. And again, that missile section just feels like a waste of your time. And it's like that section, that made it look like you really should have been led into the boss for a free hit. But instead, it looks like just running into the boss after button mashing doesn't really lead to a reward. I think it would have been much better to be able to attack the boss after that. But finally we beat it. And again, if I was playing it on normal mode, it would have lasted even longer. Worst level in the game finally cleared. And again, surprisingly enough, the next level after this has anti-gravity gimmicks. But considering what we've been through, anti-gravity is actually a huge step up from what we've seen so far. How does she even make that expression? I mean, she clearly didn't have eyes there. Naturally. You're so mean. Amy's entire personality in this game is a psychotic fangirl. Like, she's the person who would slam someone with a sledgehammer if she didn't get her own way. I don't know, like, she seems like a hypocrite in this game, espousing the value of friendship and stuff, even though she's nothing like her idealistic and nice SA1 personality.